Welcome everyone to another video, and in this video we're going to be taking a look at RealDante5991's Sinister Cup run. It's a 5-round tournament, and he is using Poliwrath, Clawsteel, Alolan Raichu, Alolan Marowak, Dusclops, and Banette. And shout out to Jonah for creating this layout and for all his hard work on thumbnails and whatnot. Really appreciate his help. His first round opponent is Radioalmaximo, using Medicham, Scizor, Drifblim, Alolan Marowak, Bronzong, and Steelix. So let's go ahead and get started and take a look at these matches. This is very early on Sinister Cup, and RealDante using a Banette, which is a really interesting pick. Kind of a discount Haunter, but not really, just because it doesn't have that Shadow Punch damage, but shields down, it still does a ton of damage with Shadow Claw, Shadow Ball, able to get that off super quick. So anyways, starting off the first match against Steelix, not a great matchup. They get to Crunch and Shadow Ball at roughly the same amount of time. And the Shadow Balls do a lot of damage, but the Crunch also does a lot of damage, and Dragon Tail certainly wearing down on Banette much faster than what Shadow Claw is on Steelix. So switching out into Clawsteel and then counter switch into Scizor, kind of a weird switch. Especially it looks like this Scizor has Bullet Punch instead of Fury Cutter, and that hitting with Night Slash. X-Scissor is actually does more damage and is more energy efficient. And then switching out into Alolan Marowak, which is what his opponent probably should have switched out in the first place. Gonna have to shield this Earth Power, also do a lot of damage to Alolan Marowak, and then switching out into Banette just to try to draw that last shield, or to KO. No shields left. And then Steelix versus Banette. Might put up a shield and go for the Shadow Ball, or just gonna have Alolan Marowak finish it off, which is probably the safer move given how quickly he got to that additional crunch. And then should be able to finish it off with a Bone Club, running the Fire Spin variant, which is a much more energy efficient variant of Fire Spin variant, much better counter against Steelix compared to Hex. Alright, taking match number 1 in round number 1, and now moving on to match number 2. Looks like gonna roll with the same team, and let's see how this is gonna play out. So this is an interesting matchup. Obviously, this Shadow Claws are chunking away at Drifblim, but this is gonna get to Omnis Wind faster. Could just choose to Shadow Claw down and double shield, but looks like it's gonna draw this second shield and gonna switch out into Clawsteel, which is a very strange strategy. But those confusions are going to chunk away at Drifblim and ultimately fades it out. I've never seen someone do that before, but it does give Clawsteel quite a bit of energy. So it's going to be able to hit this Earth Power, but at this stage, this Alolan Marowak just has the Bone Club to be able to take out the Clawsteel. And there goes the Bone Club. And going to come in with Banette. Yeah, not a particularly great situation for RealDante, just because those Banette is so squishy that even these Bone Clubs would potentially KO it at that health. And, well, okay, it looks like I'm not sure what's trying to happen there. And gonna switch out. Interesting. Gonna get hit by an Earthquake. And that's gonna almost KO. And gonna go for this Bone Club, and then he has a Shadow Ball loaded in the back. I'm not sure why he didn't fire that off before switching out. And they're gonna hit this Shadow Ball. Maybe worried that the Crunch was gonna come, but should beat it to the first charge move. So that was kind of a weird set of plays, to be honest. But able to take match number 2 in round number 1 and win the set. But let's see if they're gonna play out a third set or if they're gonna move on to the next round. Can't remember what. We will find out in a moment. Yep, looks like they're going to play a third match. Gonna see this Banette coming in super clutch. Gonna come in this Fire Alolan Marowak, which is terrible for Scizor because it's double weak to it, being Steel and Bug. And then coming in with Drifblim is a good counter switch, especially since running the Fire Spin variant. And that Shadow Ball almost KO'd that Dusclops in running the Ice Punch variant, which is kind of a little bit of an interesting strategy. I'm not really sure. You definitely want Fire Punch for Steelix. I got the defense buff, which is not great because going to be able to survive these Shadow Claws and really chunk away at this Banette. And good thing Shadow Claw is a faster move than Hex, so it wasn't able to apply the last bit of damage. And this Shadow Ball would pretty much KO anything that came in, and gonna switch out into Alolan Marowak. I don't know necessarily it's gonna a Night Slash is gonna come out and should be able to KO just with the fast moves. And then where it comes out, looks like the fellow Alolan Marowak is almost gonna get KO'd with this Shadow Ball, or gonna get almost KO'd, but it's gonna be pretty dangerous, especially since that Alolan Marowak can just Bone Club to take out this Banette, or almost take it out. Wow, okay, never mind. Wow, able to win the first 3 matches there in round number 1. So moving on to round number 2 against Clawsteel with Medicham, Why Not, which is kind of a weird pick, Haunter, Alolan Marowak, Probopass, and Steelix. I'm sure that Why Not is just an odd pick. And let's see, it does have a disadvantage running the Fire Spin variant versus the Hex variant of Alolan Marowak. That Fire Spin being resisted by Alolan Marowak, while Hex being super effective. So let's see how they're going to switch out. Going to switch out into Medicham. If this Hydro Pump goes unshielded, it will do a lot of damage, which it does. And let's see, this Power Up Punch won't KO, so definitely the right call not to shield. And we'll probably be able to KO just on Bubbles, which is huge. Gonna win this switch. And man, coming into Steelix is a very weird strategy. I guess it's better than the Fire. I don't know. That's kind of a weird strategy. So I'm assuming gonna come in with this Fire Spin Alolan Marowak. Gonna shield. This is probably gonna be a crunch, which it is. And gonna probably go for the Bone Club. Oh, switching out. Man, he really likes to bank energy and then save it for later. I imagine the other Alolan Marowak is going to come out, or going to hit one more crunch. Nope, going to get this Earth Power. Shield is probably going to come up. And then lost the race to the crunch, which is kind of odd. Probably over tapping there. And going to be able to take it out. And really wants to feint down. Unfortunately, tried to go for the Bone Club beforehand, which is a little bit too late. End up in a CMP tie, which is not really a great situation. Going to try to undercharge this Bone Club to be able to hit one more and then have the Shadow Ball ready, which he already had ready because he probably was probably at 100 energy. So 100 minus 35 is only going to leave him at 65 energy, which is more than enough to a Shadow Ball, but was the safer play just to undercharge because it's not like the Steelix was going to faint down with Dragon Tail. So leading with Banette into Alolan Marowak, this Hex Alolan Marowak definitely chunking away, and is going to be able to just go straight Bone Club against this Banette. Let's see, the switch out is going to occur. Let's see if he calls it. He does call it with that's going to be straight Bone Club, which is a really big call. Going to shield, and then probably going to go up. Let's see, going to go up to this Shadow Ball, then switch out. Oh, but unfortunately, when trying to switch out, resulted in getting fainted down. Let's see if this is Shadow Ball. No, it's just a Bone Club. I'm going to get fainted down. Another even shield, so it's kind of a tricky situation. Already revealed that he has Hydro Pump, so it's going to be pretty tough to land this Hydro Pump. Only going to be able to land one charge move, or one Hydro Pump, if that's the case. And ends up getting the shield, which is good still too. This might be a Psychic, which would do a lot of damage. Ends up just being a Power Up Punch. And here comes Steelix. Wants to hit the Shadow Ball for sure. Gonna shield. I'm not sure. It's kind of I have this at very high speed, so a little hard for me to count. But gonna go for the Bone Club. It's kind of a dangerous situation, just because one psychic is gonna KO. And nice timing. Well, really nice timing. Oh, it's Ice Punch. Okay, all right. So this alone Marowak would have been fine regardless. Boosted Ice Punch, still would have been able to survive. Experiencing quite a bit of lag in this matchup. Would have been able to survive, so it would have been okay. But would have definitely did a chunk of damage and able to win the matchup. So nice realizing that whatever the second charge move Machamp was going to be, that need to appropriately sack it. So did take match number 2 in round number 2. So it did win the set, but they're just going to complete the third match, as many people would like to do. Ooh, this interesting matchup. It's basically whoever wants a shield, whoever does a charge move. So and then just gonna be able to feint down with Shadow Claws afterwards, and then have a charge move ready. So they ends up in a slightly better position for the Banana, just because it's gonna get switch advantage, and not that much energy was farmed. In this case, Alolan Marowak is a very safe Pokemon to have. And let's see if it's going to be a Shadow Ball or a Bone Club. It ends up being a Shadow Ball, which does quite a bit. Gonna not play around and go for this Hydro Pump. Hasn't revealed the Hydro Pump yet, but Shield does come up, which is pretty huge. So we no Shield, and then just gonna come with this Alolan Marowak. Oh man, that's kind of an overkill going Shadow Ball. Definitely could have went Bone Club, and then either at least did another Bone Club. So this is a favorable matchup for the Alolan Marowak, so it wouldn't have mattered either way. Just because it's a little... actually, maybe it would have mattered. Let's see if this Probopass can get to another Rock Slide. It's going to be very close. I'm not sure they're lagging, because it shouldn't be that big a difference. But regardless, able to take the match. So moving on to round number 3 against Nacho. Running Girafarig, Haunter, Empoleon, Mawile, Poliwrath, and Steelix. So this is a very favorable matchup. Poliwrath into Steelix, especially with both of those charge moves can do a ton of damage to Steelix, but Dynamic Punch being the cheaper move, so able to go for it. Does have to be careful of this Earthquake. Ends up being a Crunch Bait, so gonna switch out into Girafarig, and then switch into Alolan Raichu, which is a really nice pick. Gonna get hit by Psychic, which would do a decent chunk to Alolan Raichu. Even though resist it's just super squishy. And able to hit it, and then here comes Steelix back in, but he probably doesn't realize that he has Grass Knot. Oh, but he does crunch him right before he gets a charge move, which is enough to KO. And then here comes Poliwrath. Going to... Wow, interesting. What does he have in the back that's so weak to it? Maybe Empoleon? Oh, Mawile. Okay. And able to chunk away. Wow, okay. This is... No Fire Punch too makes this super dangerous. And I think this Dusclops is ultimately going to lose because of no Fire Punch. Not able to do much with it. It would have been... I don't know if this Dusclops would have been able to... Oh, able to still win. Wow. Okay, interesting. Wow, okay. I totally underestimated that matchup. Wow, I thought that... well, I guess the Mawile was a little bit worn down with the Poliwrath bubbles beforehand, so... Wow, really? I thought... Well, that kind of makes sense, but with no Fire Punch, it still is able to win. Oh, that was weird. Okay, gonna switch out into Mawile, into Poliwrath, which is not good. I'm just gonna check something really quick. Yeah, that's kind of weird. I guess those bubbles did make the difference because it should. Well, actually, no. Let's power up punch. Okay, that's probably why. Yeah. No, that's weird. Mawile should still win. I don't know. That was weird. Okay, regardless, Mawile able to go for the play rough, but does burn both shields. Unfortunately, not a great situation in this. Alone Raichu does get. Wow. Okay. Jesus, that's not great. And a huge chunk of health away from this Dusclops. Was there lag? Well, I was not paying attention to this match. Let's see. Up 2 shields, though. Unfortunately, Dusclops not known for nuking. Going for the neutral Ice Punch. And then coming with Haunter. And this Haunter should be KO'd with his Shadow Punch. Or almost KO'd. I definitely don't do a charge move. That was definitely a huge mistake on his opponent's side. But still ends up KOing through the shield. So we're going to move on to the next match. This is the decisive round 3. Not a great situation for this Girafarig. These confusions are chunking away, though. But I doubt this Girafarig could have very much health left after that. Gonna switch out into Haunter. Haunter is a really devastating switch in. Pretty nice switch by RealDante. Wow, okay. Not shielding his Shadow Punches. Is an interesting maneuver. Gonna shield for sure. Oh, no. Really? That's so... Man, that was a very weird strategy, but I guess it worked out. This Dynamic Punch is definitely going to do a huge chunk to this Mawile, but ends up shielding it. Must have something weak in the back. And it's just being a power punch. I think it was way too early. Okay. No, it has Girafarig. Okay. And this is going to do a huge chunk to Girafarig. Going to shield. And this Dynamic Punch is going to KO. I'm not sure I necessarily agree with that, but good third round. Moving on to the fourth round against Selene, running Medicham, Scizor, Mawile, Alolan Marowak, Blaziken, Steelix. So some really interesting picks. Gonna switch out into Medicham. Let's see what happens in this matchup. Oh, it's going to be a Dynamic Punch, which actually does quite a bit. And it's a Psycho Cut variant of Medicham, which is... And running Psycho Cut, Ice Punch, and Dynamic Punch. Alright, going to shield. Wow, okay. Not many people... Okay, this is a... I'm not sure why this person would shield. Double shield. You have Probopass in the back, like... Goes for the Dynamic Punch, which is definitely the wrong move. Ice Punch is cheaper and going to be neutral and do more damage than Dynamic Punch, so these are very odd strategies. Coming with a Alolan Marowak is going to get Shadow Punched. And let's see. Nice switch out to Poliwrath. Going to absorb this Bone Club. And then going to get Hydro Pumped. And which takes out the Alolan Marowak. And then Probopass, I'm pretty sure it's running Rock Throw, which is resisted by Poliwrath and doesn't generate energy very quickly. Rock Throw is single resisted by, this is so bad, by Claydol. This Magnet Bomb is going to hit for neutral damage, which is one of the perks of having Magnet Bomb. A slightly better matchup against Claydol. Still loses by... Gonna do a little bit better. Unfortunately, that was not a particularly competitive match there. Running all sorts of odd movesets. Running odd movesets doesn't necessarily mean it's wrong. Gonna switch out into Claydol. Shadow Punch is gonna do quite a bit. I imagine there's gonna be a counter switch. No counter switch, just stays in. Okay, well, it does get the shield and puts his Claydol at super low health, which is good. Yeah, man, this Claydol is super low. Gonna be able to get off one charge move. Oh, not gonna be able to get a charge move. I guess that wasn't so bad, but gonna come to this Mawile versus this Poliwrath. This Dynamic Punch would do a ton, but the Mawile would still survive. But gonna shield. Power Punch. Really has to take out this Mawile, because if this Mawile double boosts and goes up against Dusclops, it's definitely gonna put a huge. Okay, wow, electing to switch out into Dusclops. Wow, okay, interesting. Because it's gonna chunk away at this Dusclops, but it does take it out, so it wasn't so bad. And it's met with Blaziken. All right. Also, I think that Mawile was like only at 1200 CP, so it wasn't doing a ton. And then this is absolutely game walled. All right, so taking the second match in round number 4. All right, they're going to so RealDante's already won this particular round. They're going to move on to the finals, but they're going to play the third match. So going Poliwrath into Alolan Marowak. This is still a good matchup for Poliwrath. I don't know what these particular moveset, if it is. Gets Shadow Balled. And going to go for the nuke. Let's see if the Marowak falls for it. Gonna switch out into Claydol, which is super interesting. Let's see if it's a Bone Club bait. No, it is a Shadow Ball. No counter switch by the opponent. I guess. Oh man, this is so bad. I would have just kept confusioning. I guess the Claydol is very safe against this team. There's no great switch in for Claydol, so that really makes sense why he played it that way. Oh wow, okay, almost got KO'd. Not sure why not go Mawile. That was not a very competitive round, but let's move on to the finals. I'm not against MugiwaraNoPando, rocking Medicham, Drifblim, Empoleon, Alolan Marowak, Gardevoir, and Steelix, and gonna get worn down before able to get off a charge move, unfortunately. And this is a Thunderfang Steelix, which is very blinding. This is definitely gonna be a crunch. Yeah, but does put the shield. So this Fire Spin Alolan Marowak does have the advantage versus this. Oh man, this is so bad. Let's see if the shield comes up. Shield does not come up. Should be able to hit the crunch. Not able to hit the crunch. And let's see what's in the back. It's going to be this Drifblim. I imagine a shield's going to come up. And then... Wow, okay, this Alolan Raichu is going to cause nightmares. Unless his opponent gets the boost. No, which is not going to happen. This Wild Charge is going to KO this Drifblim. So nice switch out to able to take the victory, not let that Drifblim farm up that Alolan Marowak. Going to come Banette into Gardevoir again, and we saw this last time, but let's see if this Banette is able to get off a charge move beforehand, which it does, which is pretty big. And going to get... switch locking yourself into Steelix is a interesting strategy. Gonna go straight for the Shadow Ball. Let's see if a shield comes up. A lot of times people don't like shield the first time, and guess correctly. And gonna put the shield in. Probably gonna feint down this Steelix, especially since it's running Thunderfang with a Fire Spin Alolan Marowak pretty easily. This Gardevoir is almost fainted. Gonna Bone Club. Let's see if a shield comes up. No shield, able to correctly call the Bone Club. Interesting switching out into Alolan Raichu. Especially these Bone Clubs are going to do a pretty decent amount of damage, but is able to generate energy super quickly and hit this Wild Charge. And gonna switch out into Gardevoir just to chunk away at this. Well, yeah, I think they're the same energy, so gonna switch out. Oh, wow, okay. Who's gonna win the race? I think nice switch out by his opponent. Well, yeah, no, never mind. Why would you go Bone Club? Why would you? That was a very poor play on his opponent's side. Definitely the wrong move. Like, Bone Club's definitely not going to win you that match. So, end up throwing away that match. Had a chance to move it on to game number 3, but went for what we called like losing less rather than trying to win. Going into this matchup, this is interesting, very interesting matchup with the Fire Spin variant. Obviously, these Shadow Claws are doing a ton of damage to Alolan Marowak since this attack set's so high. Gonna gamble on the bait, which does call it the bait. I'm gonna switch out to Gardevoir. Gonna be met with his Alolan Marowak, and this is not looking good at all for his opponent. And able to Bone Club, and this is gonna be Shadow Ball, and able to feint it down with a bunch of energy ready. So gonna go straight into Shadow Ball. Wants to draw that last shield, knowing that he can win. Oh wow, okay. This opponent didn't shield. Wow, okay. These are extremely gutsy plays. But reading his opponent really well, understanding that his opponent wants him to draw the bait, and able to correctly predict his opponent, and able to take it out. And then let's see. Oh, might get Shadow Ball though. Let's see. And does take that last match well. As well, I think switching out into Banette was a mistake, because definitely could have got to the charge move beforehand. But regardless, went like 14-1 in that 5-round tournament. So really impressive run. Shows some really nice play with a lone Raichu. Identified when Claydol, when the counter came off the table, and that Claydol was able to come into its counter and finish it off, and it became like a safe switch. And choosing to come with that energy advantage was really nice strategy and really nice thinking. So congratulations, RealDante, for the successful tournament run. If you guys like this video, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see everyone in the next video.